neighbor. It is apparent that we are firing up the drone, and we are going to fly high above Napa, California, or more specific, downtown Napa. The newest building in Napa is taking up at least 2 blocks, or one large block. But this is where the old, I believe, Kohl's department store was, and they tore that down. So I've been doing a little bit of progress report, and this little area right here is right next to the church and right next to the Napa River. You see it barely moving there. There's the Napa River. But as I fly this drone around here, I got to be careful of those cranes, because those cranes, well, they sway back and forth. Every time I saw some activity, I would zoom in, but it was really hard to see what was going on down there. They were pouring concrete, that's right. So they have a lot of, I would call it, slabs that are ready for concrete. So you can see all the blue conduit in the rebar down there. So on this day, it looks like they got 3 stories of that parking garage. So I guess this will be a parking garage / hotel. And like I said, every time I heard the big horn go off, they have an air horn, that tells me that they are moving that crane around. So a lot to beware of while you're flying this drone. You do not want to crash a drone. That's why I did not get down too low and too close. I just used my zoomer. But it always amazes me how much weight, look at that crane and how skinny it is. And yes, how much weight it can pick up. Before they start on these jobs, they have to dig deep into the ground and pour a foundation for that crane. And there's all that stress cabling and conduit. So yeah, they pull a stress cable on that thing and really tighten up the cables to make that concrete bounce a little bit. But a beautiful day here in Napa, and it was getting hot. We were suspected to get 80 degrees today, and it can get hotter than that, maybe even 90. But there is all that blue conduit and blue cabling and the foundation for the crane and just the little ants. All these people are prepping. I think I see a little bit of fire sprinkler piping there too. So I'm sure the first floors are getting their fire sprinklers installed right now, because we don't waste a minute. But even the back alleys got no room to store anything on jobs like this. Everybody's got their own little spot. So there you go, the newest hotel. Now what happens to all the other hotels that surround this newest hotel? Are they excited for this growth? Are they not excited? I don't know. But I know this is where they're pouring that concrete. If you look really close, they got that concrete pumper just pumping that concrete out. And this is a very dangerous part of the job, because that could collapse if the shoring is not put up just right. You've seen it before. When that concrete is wet like that, it's really, really heavy. So they really do not want to have any accidents when they're pouring. Everything's timing, and it's very critical to get that concrete down and smooth. But look at the size of these two cranes. One's higher than the other because they do not want any accidents. They have to overlap, if that makes any sense. And the higher the building goes, they jack this crane up. That's right. They will jack it up one floor at a time. But I don't know if they'll ever have to jack this one up. I don't imagine the building getting this high. I don't know. But Napa sure is growing fast. They just got a brand new Costco, and whenever a town gets a Costco, that means the boom has begun. And if you look right in the center of that red, that's the concrete pumper that they install. So that red long tube is where the concrete trucks pull up to the bottom of that building, and that red tube pumps it all the way to the top. So they really thought of everything on this job, how to get the concrete to the top. And at the end, they'll have to dismantle all the crane and the concrete pumper. Well, there's a pretty little park on the north side of this building, and they did not touch it. They left it just natural, just the way we like it. So even though they tore down the coals, they did leave the park. So I'm glad to see that. Well, you will see that they are, what did I say, 4 stories now? Yeah, I was here about 3 months ago and there was no stories. So they are moving fast here in Napa. And you can see all that blue stress cabling is getting buried right now. I think some of that's conduit and stress cabling. So they got quite a job to do, don't they? I think they pour a little bit at a time. Like they'll only pour like that one side of the building. They don't want it too heavy. But all these guys are doing right now is prepping. They have to put all that pipe, and a lot of those are hangers. You got to put down the hangers for the next level. So there's a lot of stress in putting down the hangers for the next level. But we do it all the time. But those hangers got to be just right, because you don't want to be drilling into that concrete with that stress cabling there. You could have a big accident. So we try to avoid drilling concrete with that stress cabling inside the concrete. If you break one of those cables, it takes a whole bunch of people to knock out a section of concrete, and they have to re-stretch a cable, and it's not easy. All right, well, there you go. A little progress report for the Napa Hotel. A little short video, but it's always good to see progress to me, because, like I said, the next time I come here, this thing will be another 3 or 4 stories higher. They do not mess around. So I count 3 stories today on this day. I guess this would be, what is today's date? March 17th, 2026, the year of our Lord. So that's the progress report on this building. I wonder who's doing the fire sprinklers here. I do not know. I'm going to have to, next time, take a little ground walk and let you see it from the ground view. Today I didn't have a lot of time. I was on my so-called lunch break. Yeah, they make you take breaks nowadays. Before we used to work right through them, but they don't let you do that anymore. They make you take a break. Well, there you go. Downtown Napa. And just imagine crawling that tower every morning. That guy's got to crawl up that tower every morning. But right here, he's moving a big load of something. So that's how much that crane can carry. That's a big load, isn't it? You got to be careful. I heard the horns going off, so I stayed back. I don't want to get in their way. Everything is slow when they move stuff. Everything's got to be very slow. You don't want that crane to be rocking and rolling, especially while you're up there. Well, I think that's enough of that load. Like I said, I just wanted to stay out of the way for this, but you can see he's dropping it now, so I was safe to move about the cabin. That's as far as he's going to go. All right, well, I think that's all I really got for this beautiful, beautiful day. Look at how many stories. 1, 2, 3. I think there, 4 stories on the garage and 3 stories on the hotel. So they're getting there. I don't know how many stories this thing will be, but we'll find out together, won't we? Well, I said it would be a small video, and I've talked a little bit too much, but I always want to thank you for coming along with me on these Napa newest hotel adventures. That's right, that's a big job, isn't it? Look at all those construction workers down there. And where do they live, and where do they come from? And are they staying at hotels while they're building a hotel? I don't know. All right, everybody. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Yeah. Bye-bye, everybody.